Hey, you guys, it's Lisa, and I'm back again to talk about the third layer of the hierarchy of homeschooling. Again, just want to remind you with a hierarchy, if you take care of the base of your hierarchy, the most important part, a lot of times the problems and issues that you have with the rest of the structure take care of themselves. So, like I said, the base of the hierarchy is the principal part. Who are, the strategy? What is your pedagogy? What's your typical course of study? What academics do you want to study? And again, what extracurriculars? And then the midline is the guidance counselor doing diagnostic testing, creating a personalized learning plan, making sure you get a couple of key classes in. And again, just what kind of rigor and that kind of thing. Now, the third level of the hierarchy of homeschool needs happens to do with the teacher. This is the hands-on person who's delivering the subject materials. This is the person who oversees the student's ability to learn and understand the material. They also give grades. They do assessments based on projects, papers, presentations, quizzes, tests, awards, and time on task. So the parent can be the teacher or it can be a mentor. You as the homeschool parent need to decide what classes are you going to teach? What classes are you going to outsource? Can you do it all? And really, should you do it all? I did this exercise this last summer. I counted up the number of students I homeschooled, which was 5, times 4 to 6, often 7 or 8 subjects per year times the 12 years I homeschooled all of my kids. And conservatively, that's 12 times 5 kids, right? That's a lot of time. That's a lot of subjects. That's a lot of years. But I really want you to think about it. It's 60 or more classes and subjects at so many different levels. Is it really reasonable to think I can teach my kids all things? Probably not. And like I said before, it's such a great time to homeschool. There's so many resources available to you and to your kids. I think it's really important to understand the educational process as you think about who's going to do the task of teaching each subject. Um, I come from a classical pedagogy, and part of that is because I love the trivium and the stages of learning. My husband's a clinical psychologist. He's done a lot of research and work in how people learn, as have I. And the grammar, the logic, and the rhetoric stage just makes sense to us from a neurobiological point of view, and as we've observed how people learn. And the grammar stage is just knowledge in the elementary learning, elementary years. It's really understanding like you're memorizing information, you're just taking in a lot of information. The world's kind of new to your kids. And so they're just reading a lot and exploring and discovering. And then the logic stage really has to do with middle school and understanding the rules of logic. You're developing a better understanding of not just concrete things, but abstract ideas. And then the rhetoric stage, which is high school and beyond, is really about putting the pieces of information together with the logic that you've learned so that you can become a wise person. And again, I really like that pedagogy. I mean, you might have a pedagogy that's completely different that really makes a lot of sense to you. But whatever your pedagogy is, I would say that's going to inform who teaches what and if you're going to outsource or do it yourself. I know that on many subjects, I'm a great grammatician. I know a lot about definitions. I know how to memorize very well. I know how to help people memorize well, and I'm a great coach in that. But on some things, I'm really not so great at the logic or rhetoric stage. So I know once my kids hit like algebra 2 and up, I'm out. I'm not going to be the best teacher for them. I'm not even going to be a really great guide for them. Same with hard sciences. Now, give me some poetry, give me some lit and comp. I will be your girl. I can teach that all the way, through college, honestly. And I love doing it. I'm going to inspire my students. I'm a rhetorician in those areas. So, again, what's your pedagogy and what makes sense for you? If you feel like you're competent and you can teach your kids, great. And sometimes we feel like we're not competent and we can still teach our kids. Also great. But if you look at what you're going to teach your kids and what they need to know and where are they going, like, look, here's the deal. If your kids want to go to a military academy or Ivy League, they need to have certain academic levels. And not only that, they need to have rigorous studies. And if you can't provide that for them, you need to outsource it if you want to help them reach those dreams. Other kids have different dreams and different goals, and that's great. So you might not need to outsource things based on who your kids are, what their goals are, and what you feel like you want where your values and your goals and your money want to go. The other thing that's really important as you're teaching is to understand the difference between active and passive learning. In passive learning, this is like sitting in front of a cartoon and your kids, somebody's telling you information on the screen and your kids do some kind of like little assessment at the end, and it could just be fill in the blanks. That's very passive learning. It doesn't really engage a lot of critical thinking or creativity with your kids. And so if you want your kids to really engage with materials and own it, there needs to be active learning. And with active learning, you have to have a feedback loop. There's some really great programs out there that, well, they look great, but they do not provide a good feedback loop. And here's the deal. Your brain learns what it does. So if you're practicing poor writing and you just have to write and write and write and write, but nobody's ever correcting your writing, nobody's ever telling you you have run-on sentences, nobody's ever telling you that your logic is faulty, and no one's ever, just giving you any kind of feedback, you don't have a good feedback loop, you're going to just keep practicing that poor writing. You're never going to get better at it. I've worked with Olympic athletes and they all have coaches. They have their coach for their athletic, whatever it is. I've worked with golfers and I've worked with swimmers and I've worked with gymnasts. They all have a coach for their field of, their specific sport. Then they usually have a dietitian coach. Then they usually have an academic coach. So people who are really high performers know that they put money into getting people who can take them farther faster. And they have good assessment and feedback loops. So if you're an Olympic athlete or you're training for the Olympics, you don't just practice over and over. You have somebody telling you, and they're pretty hardcore about it too. That was wrong. Do this, try that, think differently, put your toes here, go to the edge. You need to get your mind right. I mean, coaches can be really tough, but they also help us go farther. So that's the big difference between active and passive learning. You have to have a good feedback loop or you're going to learn. You're just going to, reinforce those bad habits and bad academic behaviors that you've not known any different about probably, right? So just get in your head, what's the difference between active and passive learning? The other thing I want to just talk to you about is as you're homeschooling your kids, a lot of us are working while we homeschool. What do you want to spend, time or money? Now, with homeschooling, it is education and it is a job because we're homeschooling our kids. And a lot of us have outsourced that to public or private schools. And we say the public schools have provided this opportunity for us for free, when in reality it's not that free, but we send our kids to public school. When we homeschool, we have given up that time that we had when we gave our kids to the public schools or the private schools. Same with money. If we had our kids in a private school, I talked to a family this year, they were spending $50,000 on high school per year, and they decided to homeschool. And a full-time homeschool program was like $4,000 to $6,000, pennies on the dollar compared to what they had been spending. However, they needed to be more present with their kids. So again, you want to think about, do you have more time to spend or more money to spend? Are you stretched for both? How are you going to make that work? And what other resources can you pull in as you homeschool? So this is the hierarchy of homeschool needs. I hope it's been helpful to you. And again, I just want to reiterate, the golden rule of a hierarchy is that if you take care of the most basic and essential needs first, the other levels take care of themselves. And the way I've conceptualized home education is you have the principal level, the guidance counselor level, and the teacher level. And the principal does the high level strategy, the academics and the activities. The guidance counselor takes care of assessments and creates a personalized learning plan. And the teacher helps your kids to develop those skills to become a self-learner, and they do by subject skills. Now, at True North Homeschool Academy, we provide all of these. We provide every level for you if you want to outsource it. We love coming alongside fellow homeschoolers. We like seeing you succeed. We love our students. And you can outsource any of this to us if you want to. We'll help you create a personalized learning plan. We'll do a diagnostic assessment for your kids. And then, of course, we offer classes for your kids. We offer over 130 classes, all the core classes, every level, 2nd through 12th grade. We offer 6 foreign languages, and then we also offer 30 electives. A lot of those are marketable skills electives because we just feel like, with the 4th Industrial Revolution, our kids need marketable skills regardless of what they do after high school, so that they can earn money even while still in high school. And maybe they'll develop a vocation or create a job, their own business out of knowing some marketable skills. So that is what we offer at True North Homeschool Academy. And again, we'd love to come alongside of you as you're homeschooling your student. You don't have to do it alone. And those days of feeling like you had to hide in your house and do everything by yourself and hope for the best are long gone. Again, there's never been a better time to homeschool your kid. The other thing I want to just remind you, you are your kid's best resources. You have so much to offer your child. It's no mistake that they're your kid and you're their parent. So I hope you have a great year of homeschooling. We'd love to answer any questions you have about home education. You can reach us through the website or through the email. We have a chat on the website or any of the Facebook groups. Thanks for listening to this series, and take good care.